All right, so New Year just came around. You're getting New Year's resolutions. You might have those. Big statistic: a lot of people fail on their New Year's resolutions 2 to 3 weeks in. You just kind of lose motivation. You're not keeping track of it. Another thing is, I read a study. I can't remember where I saw it, but it said if you set 1 to 2 goals, on average, the people are achieving like 1.8 of their goals. That means they're almost getting both those goals. And then as you set more, like 3 to 6, they're only getting like maybe 1.2. So the percentages go down. And then the higher you go, 6 to 12, they're like barely, they might get half of one of those goals. And if you set like 20 goals, like maybe it sounds so awesome, but you just get overwhelmed. And on average, people get like zero point 0.1 of the goals. That means they're not even achieving most of the time one of the 20 goals they had. So we want to start with your wildly important goals. I really just recommend like 2, okay, at a time. Maybe 3 if you've gotten really good at it, okay? So today we're going to talk about how to make a WIG, a wildly important goal. I'm going to use an example from our last class WIG here. And we actually did not achieve this, and we're going to talk about some of the reasons we did not achieve it, and then we're going to also talk about this planning sheet that we have so that we can help keep track of it, okay? Because this will be going home. You're going to be setting your WIGs at home so that we can be more responsible all the time, not just here at school. All right, so the first thing you need to do with this is you got to figure out what is the end in mind. And that's where you have to figure out what is important. And this goal has to be important to the person doing it, okay? If you're a parent, you can't decide what's important for your kids as much as you want to, all right? Now, you can help them along the way and help them realize things that are important, but it needs to be something that's important to them, because if it's not important to the kid or the person doing it in general, they're not going to want to be doing it, not motivated. It's got to be something that they really want to improve on, okay? So what's the end in mind? It might be that you want to get faster. You might want to get better at soccer. You might want to get better at gymnastics, or you want to read more, okay? Whatever it is, okay? You got to begin with the end in mind, all right? Then we have this where I am now, where I want to be, and by when. And you can see that I have here. We were doing achieve articles. We were at 145 on 1106, and that was at 75% of the score. So we had 145. We wanted to be at 265 by the time we were leaving on November 30th at 3 p.m. Well, with this specific one, we got to 263. Now, we came out of the gates firing. We were at 145. We got in like 3 days all the way to like almost 200 in like 3 days. And we had like almost a month to do this. And then we kind of teetered off. We only got to 262. Why did that happen? Well, one, we stopped meeting and stopped helping each other be accountable, which we're going to talk about. So you have to be accountable. Also, we got a little bit lackadaisical on recording it on our calendar. Because if we recorded it and we didn't go up from the day before, people would be like, oh man, when I gotta go home, I gotta get to work. Okay, but we stopped recording it, you don't see that, okay? When I do mine at home, I have a huge calendar that sits on my mirror in my bedroom because I see it every single day. And when I look at it and I'm not doing my goal, I see it. If I don't have it, I don't do that. Now, some people recommend, like if it's a food or a health one, putting it on your fridge or wherever you go for that. Or putting it on your running shoes or your door in the bathroom or wherever it might be, okay? But somewhere that you see it all the time, okay, where you can record your stuff. We have to figure out our lead measures, okay? The lead measures are strategies or action steps you're going to do, okay? And we were saying like eating healthy and try to get ahead while we're at home. Making a personal schedule. So this was a class one, but finding what personal schedule was going to work for you. Like if you know your Mondays and Wednesdays are really busy, try to do more on Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays, or other things like that. Asking others if they did their articles. This one we were really good in the beginning, and then we kind of went downhill a little bit. Okay, so we got to make sure we're doing those. This is another big one here. Got to have an accountability partner. For this one, as your kid's starting to develop their WIG, I would really, really recommend that you be their accountability partner and have multiple ones. Okay. Accountability partner, for us, it was the class. We didn't do a great job. We weren't holding each other accountable, and that's something we can always improve on, which is great. When and where will we meet? We're going to meet at school, but you need to plan a time. This is really important. If you just talk about a goal, you're like 10% likely to get it accomplished. But if you map it out exactly what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, how you're going to get there, you leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room. If you're too strict, you like end up just going downhill if you mess up once. If you leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room, have an accountability partner where you are meeting with them and talking about it, you're going to be so much more successful. So be your accountability partner for your kid, and hopefully you can set a goal too. And then how to celebrate. Make it something fun. You did something. You accomplished it. That's great. Okay? Here's another big one. We always use a calendar, but how are you going to track what you're doing? I like a calendar, but other people like a little chart, okay, or maybe you have like a little volcano, and as you go, I don't know, maybe it's you were doing books. You wanted to read 5 books, and you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And as you go, you color it in. Oh, I got my 2nd book done. 3rd. It can be something fun like that. You can do a lot of different things, but you have to have something that you're tracking. I would recommend having something you can track every single day because it's really fun to get that highlighter or that marker, whatever it might be, and color in that you accomplished something. It makes you feel good, and then you look forward to it the next day, okay? And yeah, tracking your progress is a big thing. Also, you have to make these WIGs. These WIGs have to be like achievable. Okay, you can't be like, I want to be in the NBA by the end of January. Okay, not gonna happen. Okay, you got to make sure it's measurable. You can't just say, I want to get better at reading. Well, what does that mean? Faster? Read more? Comprehend better? You got to have something that you can measure. Okay. And it can be a physical goal, a health goal. It can be a academic goal. It could be a personal growth goal. It could be that you want to get better at guitar is the beginning with the end in mind. So you want to practice for 6 hours this month or something like that. And you can track that because you can do the number of minutes and add it up. It needs to be measurable and it needs to be attainable. Okay? If you have something that's too unrealistic, you're just never going to get there. You're going to give up. And you're not going to accomplish it. When you get one of these wildly important goals, it feels really good, okay? Now, you also don't want to make something that's too easy, okay? You don't want to do, like, run 3 miles this month, and you run, like, 4 miles on the first day, okay? That's great. It's awesome. You're getting the physical activity. But it has to be to you. If you're a runner that runs all the time and you do 4 miles a day, doing 3 miles for the month isn't going to work. But if you're the kind of person that hasn't run in years, and you're like, I want to run 1 mile without stopping this month, and that's your goal at the end, well, you're going to figure out, what am I going to have to do along the way? Well, maybe on the first day, I just got to get out and walk for 10 minutes, okay? And then by week 1, I want to be able to run a 1/4 mile on my own without stopping, okay? And then by the end of week 2, I want to be up to a 1/2 mile. And the end of week 3, I want to be at 3/4 mile. And then at the end of the month, I want to be able to do the whole mile without stopping, okay? Like I said, it's different for everybody, okay? So you're going to be planning your WIGs with your kid. Now, remember, it has to be important to them. And I will send home an extra one so you can fill this out too. Have this somewhere accessible. And then on the back here where you track it, this is where you either need to create it or have a calendar. It's different for everybody, so I can't just give you one. You have to make it. And then when you make it, whether it's something like this or a chart or something, you're going to be more accountable for yourself because you're like, oh, I made that. I want to make sure I put the time in to get my wildly important goal. All right, so New Year's just came around. Hopefully you're setting some new goals. I'm going to be setting some too, and hopefully I can keep it up. I got my accountability partners ready, and should be a good time. All right, good luck.